Welcome to Friday's weather briefing for tomorrow's race to Blairgowrie. Hope you guys are all prepared, and it looks like it's going to be a fabulous weekend. So we'll just start off. I'll just clear off my little pink things there, and if we broadly look at the satellite picture, this area here is the front that went through us early this morning and late today. And this one here is the front that's supposed to be with us on Monday. Generally, it's quite an interesting system because of this broad gap, and we'll have a look a bit later on with some charts and things to see what we can see with that particular thing. So if we go and have a look at our weather maps, and we start on Friday night at 2200, I'm just going to draw a little line to sort of intersect where the high is, and then just demonstrate to you what happens with the high over the next couple of days. So if we look at roughly race time on Saturday morning, you could broadly see that that high is starting to sink further south, and then if we move on to Sunday, you can see the centre of the high has moved even further down between those two masses of clouds. So it'll be interesting to see if it follows that path, and if it does, we should be in fairly pleasant conditions. So if we look on Saturday, it's showing us in basically west to, and depending on where this high goes, you can see where the northwesterly might come from in this direction here, but start time looking at purely west. So it'll be interesting to see which models are right, whether it stays in the west or goes southwest. And broadly, if we look at Sunday, you can see with that isobar spacing, we're going to get a nice 15 knots rather than 25 knots by my feel of it. So Sunday's Lady Skipper's Racehorse should be a nice work to windward, but not too strong, so that'll be fairly good. So let's next up, we'll go and have a look at Predict Wind, and this is Predict Wind's weather models, and I'm looking at the GWS1 and the European model. This is showing the bay, and as you can see, it's about 8:30 in the morning and it's showing westerly. The GFS model showing more wind, and the ECM is showing less. So if we just moved along during Saturday, and we'll take these models are showing 1:30 in the afternoon, in this model showing you light westerlies, and in this model showing the wind going more north. And so if we play the models on a little bit, we can see that this model shows westerly and a bit more wind, and this model here is starting to show the northerly going in, and this is by 5:30 on Saturday. So the things that I would be thinking about in this is that, you know, the wind could be more west all the way, or it could start to go further north. So tacticians, you want to think about the path that you choose. And as you can see, it looks like Rumline might pay, but with the northerly it might look like you might want to get a bit more angle to mark 19. But anyway, things for you to think about. So if we go and have a look quickly at Metai, and this is 10 o'clock in the morning, and Metai is again showing different winds, and it's showing you that they think at start time, so if we go back to 7, they've got north in the westerly already, and then by 10 o'clock they're showing the westerly is going to be well in, and then by lunchtime they're showing it going back to the west. So it'll be interesting to see which model's right, and then by 4 o'clock in the afternoon it's starting to glass sight and come from every which way. If we look on Sunday morning and we go to sort of 10 o'clock where you see a start time, you can see they are predicting a little bit stronger wind down where we'll be in the 20, but if you look during the day, the wind starts to moderate, and the only difficulty is that it's going to be tacking all the way. Okay, so finally we'll just go and look at the last thing, which is our little model, and so this is looking at the time for a 40-footer. So if we play the model is recommending that you go straight down on the run line, get to mark 19, turn to the left, and you'll be into Blairgowrie before 2 o'clock. So so that's interesting, and so we'll go down and have a look at the summary tables here, and the summary tables are all in close alignment of talking 4.5 hours roughly for the journey. Reminder that it's a 36 miles race, and they're predicting the maximum speed in the 13 knots or so, and the minimum speed in the 7 to 8 knots. So all in all, it should be a good race. It'll just depend on which model is correct in saying whether that westerly is going to stay in or it's going to move more north, and what strength we're going to get. So broadly, I think that it's going to be a great race down there tomorrow. The only interesting thing is if we're there a bit early, it gives us a bit too much time drinking, so the race could be extra hard on Sunday. So anyway, hope to see you on the start line, and enjoy your day tomorrow.